Welcome, everybody, to Chalkcast number 63. We are joined by the one and only Tbates. We haven't seen this man in ages. Where has he been? Bates, what have you been up to? Bates, tell me, talk to me. What are you doing?
What is going on? What is going on?
It's good to see you, Bates.
What have you been doing?
What is happening? Thank you, Rizzo, for the intro.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that energy. We love to see that. We love to hear that. Where have Tyler Bates been? Tyler Bates has I've been enjoying the Rock Lake off season. Well, as much as I can enjoy it. So I've distanced myself from Rock Lake. Really focusing on school, legal aspects, the legal side of my life. Put in application for legal jobs. Getting the GPA even better. Building up the resume more and more, and just chilling and focusing on that part of my life. Because I mean, I really never had opportunity to do that.
So you're on the real life grind.
No, Rock League's real life. This is real life. This podcast is real life. But it's just another part of my life.
You've got to separate the RLs, though, or otherwise we can't distinguch the two.
Oh,
we got one
okay,
RL,
okay.
We got another RL.
Okay, I'm just gonna say real life and Rocket League then, so there's no confusion. But yeah,
Yes,
both the real life, and it's just that finally Rocket League had that little pause for the first time since I've been in law school. So I'm taking advantage of that and just enjoying the time at the moment. And I mean, there's not really much to talk about Rocket League. I mean, I was just asking y'all before we got on here what y'all been talking about. Y'all been talking about the bad things. The bad things.
The bad things.
The bad
What are the good things?
Tell us the good things.
We didn't say bad things.
Bates knows good things.
I know nothing. So nobody come start DMing me. 'Cause I don't know anything at all. I'm being honest with you.
You said applying for legal jobs. Does that mean potentially if you land one, can we still have you? We still got Tbates in the Rocket League scene, or are we fighting for your time?
That remains to be seen. It depends on the job. It depends on the capacity that it requires. Also depends on how much what Rocket League's capacity is, and how intensive that is, and how much I got to do. Yeah, I haven't necessarily. I mean, that's something that's always been a thought on the mind, but in terms of the scope of it all, it really just the chips haven't fallen into place yet to even consider what the implications of that would be. Regardless, though, at least for the next year, if whoever desires to have me for Rock League purposes, I can stay in Rock League at least for the next year. That's all I can say.
I'm sorry. The way you answered that, you're going to be a great lawyer, Bates. You are going to be absolutely fantastic. You
got 2 feet out the door.
You nailed it. You actually nailed it. That was awesome.
Thank you. Y'all got jokes. But yeah, that's
it's good to have you back, though, and it's good to hear that you're keeping busy. I think that's the number one important thing to do. Well, just generally, but especially in an off season. So that's good to hear. But yeah, just to get quickly, so you mentioned they're bad news. So yeah, you think there's just, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth here, but yeah, is that your take on the current news for the off season? Is just bad news for you? You can elaborate or not as you wish.
I mean, yeah. When you have widespread layoffs, is bad news. So I mean, that's just basic. That's the economy 101 for folks at home. So yeah, there's nothing good, nothing positive about that one. I mean, and then also the juxtaposition between how Epic responds to the Fortnite community doing whatever they were doing. Getting that tweet out, that transparency, and in comparison to Rocket League, you got the core community not liking the fact that you got the metaverse angle that Epic's taking. And I understand that's Epic's position with the Rocket League trading, because they want to incentivize everybody to have things cross game, mainly because of their metaverse and how they're trying to really build that up. You got the core community saying we don't want that; they don't care. That's very apparent. So
they get rid of trading. They say I don't want it. They don't care.
Yeah. So I mean that's pretty. There's nothing good about that. In terms of Rocket League itself, I mean, I thought Lightning McQueen is pretty awesome. It came at an inopportune time. It did. If it came 4 months earlier,
Epic chill. We've got another one.
Yeah, no. If it came 4 months earlier, it would have been great. But I did. I had leftover credits because we would get the Rocket Pass for free. Because we were all talent, and then I would.
The biggest
I
shill.
thought you were gonna say how you
This
bought
guy,
it with
man.
your own money. So you went, we've got
No.
leftover credits. You could have just said you
No.
got given Lightning McQueen for free. We could have skipped a step there.
No. I mean, I didn't spend a dime. It's just the last 3 Rocket Passes. I just had 3,000 credits. I didn't know. I was just like, this is cool. I wasn't gonna spend money on this game. I never do. I haven't spent money on this game in a long time. But I had 300 credits. I said, I gotta get McQueen. And I'm not gonna lie. You see me in the very few games. The very few games that I play, I do walk around saying ka-chow every time I score. I walk around saying speed. I am speed. Two losers, 2 winners, and I'm a part of the 2 winners in the 2s game. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just I'm having fun with Lightning McQueen the few times I played. It's great. It's great.
Tbates, do you have Alpha Boost on your account?
Oh, most definitely not. And if I did, I would have sold it by now. It has no value.
Okay. Just I couldn't remember. I was trying to remember if you had it.
No,
I've seen you use it, but it must be back as mod, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Smart
I would
man.
have sold that so fast. I would have made however much that's worth. I would take that money.
Did you see Rise was buying it the other day, a couple of days ago? He put a tweet out saying, "Anyone go on for me?"
Delusional. He shouldn't buy it to the last day.
He's like trying to buy the dip. You know what I mean? Like everyone's getting off the cliff, and he's like, "I'll have that." So I don't mind it. Going against the grain.
I mean, maybe he's thinking with the increase, it's going to be even harder to get now because you can't trade. So he's probably thinking, you can get a nice pound, a nice dollar for my account, maybe. Totally against terms of service, by the way. Would not recommend doing that, but it's something that has happened. I've seen like random like world champ accounts pop up, and I'm like, who is this? Like, it's just some absolute random with a world champ tag. And some like substitute who sold their account from way back when. But actually, so, speaking of Rise, so we did have Rise on a few weeks ago. And if any of you guys in chat remember this, give us a 1 in chat. Rise at the end of the episode dropped a bombshell. He just goes just casually. So anyway, we need to talk about bringing back League play. This is about 3 hours into an episode already. We thought that's not going to work. We need to probably save that for another day. But he also mentioned that, Bates, you've talked about this recently, and I know you've talked about this many times. So we thought we would circle back to that topic with the man himself, Tbates, the biggest advocate, the self-acclaimed, and also popular opinion, biggest advocate for League play in the entire scene. And just since we've got not, like Tbates said, not really a lot to discuss right now in Rocket League, let's talk about it now. Let's use this as an opportunity and hear Bates out, because maybe he's onto something.
Oh, you want to hear my League play thesis? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
give us your 2 minutes. We're stuck in an elevator with you, or we're stuck in a podcast with you for an hour.
Trying to get off.
give us your 2 minutes.
Hitting all the buttons.
You want to stay on? I mean, just the League play value. It's simple. It's simple points. I do believe that, and right now in society, we're dealing with just across a lot of aspects. You're dealing with oversaturation. I feel like with oversaturation becomes a lack of interest in terms of fans' ability to enjoy something. I think that the in terms of TV in and of itself, TV, cable television, and direct TV and such are like starting to fail, at least in America they are, for all my Americans in the chat, because nobody's watching TV as much. You have the streaming services. The one thing that is succeeding is NFL. The NFL succeeds because it has a scarcity. It has a scarcity of games, and you can't miss anything. I think that League play provides that. I think it's a very simplistic way for a fan to enjoy the game. I think it provides more storylines for the game. I think that when they had the 2-tier system back in the day with the RS and RLCS, it provided an ability for people who are on the come up is to have a something to shoot for. Right now, people are straight shooting for RLCS without getting that developmental time to be ready for RLCS. And you have your exceptions. Zen was already ready for RLCS. I mean, he's the best. You got the Vatiro and such. Like, if you're not the creme de la creme, you're kind of just floating right now. And I just think that in terms of the competitive side of things, that RLCS system works better. I think in terms of the viewer side of things, it's more simplistic. It's more easy to follow. It generates more hype for matches, so you don't get BDS versus Carmine or somebody else. I just threw that out there. Maybe they didn't even play them. Maybe they only played 3-4 times. You don't get that matchup multiple times, at least in the regular season. You get it once, and it really means something. Like the winner of that gets first seed. That means something. I don't know what that is, monetarily or in terms of a bracket placement in a major or worlds. Like, that all matters in my estimation. I just think that having tournaments all the time, people get bored of that, and I think people have gotten bored of that. And I think that's in part why you see the viewership kind of declining. And I also think in terms just of players themselves and growing their brands. I was joking Rizzo earlier, but I do think that the reason we love Gary G's and the Justins and the Squishies and the Rizzos and the K-Dops and such is because they were in league play. You knew they were always going to be there. And at the moment, you technically really don't know everybody's going to be there. Like it's just like kind of like a finite thing. And I don't think that the league really benefits from having a lot of turnover. I think a more solidified league in and of itself is better. So
I've got one question as someone who doesn't really know anything about the NFL. So you
That was a
mentioned the
long
NFL's
elevator,
doing
by the
well.
way. That was 150
Yeah.
thumbs.
Listen, we were going 100. That was about 3.5.
That's good though. That's good. I like
good.
that. I like that. But yeah, about the NFL things, I don't know anything about the NFL other than the Super Bowl at the end is the big finale. But so you said that's doing well versus what is that doing well versus like the NBA or what other sports is it doing well against?
It's doing
'Cause I don't
well
really
compared to
understand.
anything. At least in America, I don't know. I don't know the outside numbers for Europe.
So like
or
baseball, NFL,
baseball,
basketball, they're the big three, right?
basketball. Yeah, I mean they're not touching the NFL right now. Nothing's touching NFL.
Really?
And also just in terms of even just general TV in and of itself, it doesn't touch NFL.
So how many times do you mentioned how many times do NFL teams play each other? So I think a big thing for you sounds like it's the frequency that the top teams play each other. How many times do NFL teams play each other per season in the
play
in the
17
league?
games.
They play 17 games.
So everyone plays everyone once.
No, it's 32 teams. They have divisions.
Oh.
You're not guaranteed to play everybody. You play your division twice. So you have what's that? 4 teams in each division. You have 4 teams in each division. So you got 6 games in just division. Then it's another 4 games, or you play. And there's 2 conferences: AFC, NFC. Another 4 games. If you're in the AFC, you're gonna play 4 NFC teams, and it rotates. There's NFC North, NFC West, NFC South, NFC East. You're playing 4 of those teams. You're gonna play that whole entire division, and then you play what is that? That's 4, 6, that's 10. Then you play, I guess, another 7 games in conference. I guess that's how it works right now.
So there's
Oh,
4.
that lost me.
Wait, so there's 4 different groups of 4 in this league.
There's 8 groups of 4.
Oh wait, there's 8. Yeah, sorry, I've googled it right now. I can see. So there's the wait. So one of them is called the American Football Conference, and one of them is the National Football Conference. Am I on the right thing here?
I don't know. Don't worry about the naming.
I'm just making sure I'm in the right place. I'm not worried
you're
about
in the
the
right.
names.
You're in the right.
Doesn't matter.
Place.
I'm in the right place. Okay. So there's 8 different groups of 4, but that's not really a league then, is it? The NFL, if they're just 8 different groups.
It is.
Like it sounds like there's 8 different leagues.
No. Can you play everybody? Well, you have the potential to play everybody. Everybody's on the same league. It all leads to one champion at the end, and everybody's underneath the NFL umbrella.
But like, so it's not round robin then. It's not like a round robin. Everybody in the league plays each other once.
It's not round robin.
You don't play everybody. So I feel like that's a very important distinction, because one of the drawbacks that's always brought up about league play in RLCS is that everybody played everybody, which resulted in some games being pretty meaningless or not that interesting. And they take up broadcast time because they're the only game happening at the time, and you can't switch off to go and watch the interesting game. It doesn't naturally filter out towards the end of a tournament. So what's the system in NFL then to fix that? Is that why they've done this? Or was it always
That's
like
why they've
this?
done it. NFL has actually kind of perfected it now, because they have it where the divisional games, because the divisional games really matter. And they also extended the playoffs. They have more teams to play. I think it's 7. I think it's 14. Or wait, no. Is it 14 now? And it used to be 12. Yeah, I think it's 14. I think it's 14 teams now. So they expanded that, and then which then increased the season legitimacy to people trying all the way to the end. And also they made it to where all the division games, a lot of them are happening at the end of the season, and those games really determine, because you get to make the playoffs if you win your division. So if your division's terrible, such as the Cowboys and the Eagles usually, even though now they're good, but the last like 8 years or so, they haven't been good. Like 2010 to 2018 are terrible. So like if you're in the NFC East or an NFC East, their records could all be like 7-7, 8-7. And realistically, usually they wouldn't have a chance to be in the playoffs. But since they're in that sorry division, the worst division in football, they have a chance because they're going to play each other at the end. So those games matter. So people are still going to tune in. The NFL figured it out that way. Now, people that, and I think it's a fair argument or a fair rebuttal, is that people don't like it that you can win a division. If the division's terrible, then and if you go negative, say you go 7-10 or 7-9, you shouldn't even be making the playoffs. You're a negative 500. Some other team deserves to make it there. I think that's a fair argument to make. I don't know whether the wrong answer for NFL in terms of that is the way to go. I don't know which way. I can see the one side, you're making sure the games are interesting towards the back end of the season. The other side is you can have a division that's really good that year, and they're getting messed over because you have to give a division winner a playoff spot. Now, how this all goes to Rocket League...
Is it just one division winner? Just very quickly, so I understand this. Is like only the winner of every division goes to the playoffs, the top 8 playoffs? Okay.
Yeah. So if you win your division, you make it. You're guaranteed to make playoffs, and then the other 3 spots are just based off of record. So you could have, like I said, in a conference, you have AFC. That's 4 divisions. All 4 top teams make it, and then the next 3 teams could all be from the same. Could be from 1 to 4 divisions. So you got 4. You know what I'm saying? And that equals 7. Yeah. So.
Okay. Because that's like very different from like the league. When I think of a league, I think of like the what RLCS used to be, or like the the Premier League or La Liga, a big football league where everybody plays each other twice, or in smaller leagues sometimes 3 times, 4 times to make up the whole season worth of games. Same thing in the NBA, right? Except, well, I guess they've got 2 conferences as well. Can't say I'm 100% sure. I guess that works in a similar kind of way, but do they do full round robin in the
NBA? The NBA, everybody plays everybody at least twice.
Okay.
But then you play your division multiple times. I don't know how the NBA works. But the NBA is much more confusing. They play many more games, but I know they play each other twice.
See, the problem with the old league play, right, was because we only had 8 teams in league play.
Correct.
Right. So, and everyone's saying, well, if you have league play and everyone's playing each other twice, like we have too many good teams now is one problem. And 2, double round robin or something gets a bit boring with stalemate games. Why don't we have like an 18-team league, a 20-team league then? Like what's stopping that?
And that's what I've been wondering.
Now, I know Johnny Boy's a massive advocate of the AFL finals format, the Australian Football League. And I'm going to bring up the AFL league play format as well because it is absolutely fantastic. Now, we have 18 teams, and right now we have 23 rounds, okay? And how it works is everyone plays each other once, and it's a bit of a floating fixture for the final rounds because obviously some teams are playing teams twice because there's 5 extra rounds on that or 6 extra rounds. How they weight that is basically they try and give easier draws to the lower ranked teams coming into that season, if that makes sense. They try and give harder draws to the top teams, a bit of a balancing thing. So the weaker teams might have weaker draws in terms of playing whoever they play twice in those 6 rounds. But then they also do like a bit of a floating fixture. So maybe by the 18th round when everyone's played each other once, they can work out okay, who's kind of like still in the running. You can make some exciting sort of like little games and stuff there. So that could be a way to do it in terms of you get your round robin, everyone plays each other once, so there's no real boring games. You can still have your promo relegation. That's not in the AFL because it's a franchise, but you could still have your promo relegation. So it's exciting for the bottom ranked teams. And the top teams can go into a finals system. So everyone's still playing for something by the end of the season. You know what I mean? Like, unless you if you have a top 8 finals in an 18-team league, then everyone's still sort of fighting either for a final spot, for maybe a top 4 spot so they can get a better chance of the playoffs, or or they're fighting to get out of relegation. I think that could be the perfect, because then you're not getting like everyone's playing each other twice or 3 times or 4 times. Everyone plays each other once, get more teams in it, and they play each other less times.
There's other. So wait, hold on. So it's actually it's not random, but like it's rigged. They rig it for the easier draws for the bad teams. They just make the bad teams play each other twice. The good teams play each other twice. The teams in the middle play each other twice, and every apart from that, you play each other once.
So you've got. I guess you play everyone. So there's 17 games where you're playing everyone else from 18 teams, and then there's another 6 rounds where that is sort of weighted based on how bad you went last.
Why do the bad teams get bad teams.
Well, it's just like
you
don't want the good teams to get an easy draw because like in the other side of
is
things.
it intentionally to try and make it more close? That's
Yes.
it's a totally rigged system for closeness. I love
Pretty
it.
much.
Entertainment
It's
value.
the same as how it's the same as we have like the draft,
Bro.
Draft picks, NBA, NFL draft. The lowest teams, because you guys have a draft lottery. Is that like in all American sports, Tbates? Is it always a lottery?
It's not at all. Football.
Okay, yeah. So we don't do the lottery. We do the worst team. Whoever finishes 18th gets the number 1 pick in the draft. So that's another way to try and rebalance.
Yeah, that's
like,
a smart thing. Yeah.
So
But
it's never a lottery.
CJ, there's one issue I've got here. Like, our RLCS players will complain if their draw in Swiss, which is totally random, is like marginally harder than another team who made it through. And they're like, "Whoa, this is not fair. We got a bad draw. So whoa, we got a tough group." If it's actually rigged that like the 7th best team in one season just has actually got an easier draw the next season than the team who finished 6th, the Rocket League scene is going to have so many pros complaining.
Look, if you win the league, if you win the whole thing, I think it should be harder for you to win next season. Like,
I don't know if I agree with that as a like.
All right, so we can do 17 rounds if we want to, and everyone plays each other once. No one complains. But I think my main point is, you can like the argument before was there was only 8 teams. One, there's way too many good teams, and there weren't enough teams back then. Like, you could have 18 teams, you'd have 20 teams in a league in every region, and everyone plays each other once, and then you get like the best of both worlds.
Every match,
you know what I mean?
And I think that's something that the league needs. Every match needs to matter. Right now, and see, Johnny, I know you're against this, so I want to get that argument out there. I don't know where Rizzo stands on this. I know you're against this league play. I honestly don't know where CJ is. I don't know where CJ is, but on this, but like I'm so pro league play. But to me, every game does not matter at the moment. It might feel like it sometimes, but for me, it really doesn't. I mean, it really does. Now, me, it really doesn't. I just feel like. I just feel like when you gotta win that match in and of itself, and for a specific part of seeding or a specific part of 1-2, get to my Lou. There's no coming back from that. You gotta beat Carmine right here, because if you lose to Carmine right here, you're gonna have 4 losses, and that 4 losses is really gonna be an issue. The only time I really think it was ever an issue this whole entire time with the Open was version 1 choking. Other than that, I feel like all the teams that make it. What are you pointing at? Is that you raising your hand?
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Can I say something real quick? You're saying in league play, like, it helps that every match matters, but I feel like especially at the beginning of the season, they would matter less. Like, wait, hold on. Wait.
I'll get
it. No, okay, so like when there's 9 regionals, like I'm kind of with you. A lot of them don't matter. If there was like 4 or 5 regionals, like I feel like every game at that point would be like 100% like do or die. Every game is like at least a little bit more interesting. But like league play, the beginning of the season, like you can tank the first 6-7 games and still I'm talking about like the NFL. If there's like a 17 game season, or if Rocket League had a 17 game season, you could tank the first 6 or 7 games and still make playoffs. So it's not as if all those games matter if you can just, lose them. Whereas like in a regional, and it's like double a limb or something, you have 1 life compared to 6 lives throughout a season. You know what I mean?
I'm with you on that. I think it would be. I mean, I think it's guaranteed that there will be more games, regardless of what you do with league play, any kind of league play, to try and make, you can even like CJ, you were mentioning, everybody plays each other once, and in the Australian Football League, they have like the predetermined draw that's different depending on how good you did last year. I know in the Scottish Football League, the way they do it is, so there's 12 teams. After the end, when everybody's played each other, round robin, multiple times, you just cut it in half, top 6, bottom 6, and you do 5 more games within the top 6 and the bottom 6. So there's other ways to get those, extra games by like just cutting the league, and you can get a reshuffling. But I think I agree with Rizzo. Like, no matter what you do, there are going to be there's going to be more pointless matches than the open format right now, where everything's you're just guaranteed to have more matches that don't actually matter that much in the grand scheme of things. Whereas if you are playing in a if you're playing in a double elimination bracket, every match is absolute like edge of your seat. You're eliminated, you're out. no, you're just out of the tournament.
I
So
think-
it feels like a lot more like grand than just like, okay, this is our match for the week. Oh well, we lost. We'll get him next time. Like, it's just a one match isolation. Whereas part of a tournament, whether it's like a group where you're playing a tiebreaker for a group on day 1, you're in a single elimination playoff on day 3. Like, there's just more on the line with the current formats than there would be on average for a league play game.
I think like with Johnny's point though is like, I'm with you, like double limb or single limb or whatever is more tense most times, but not when the season is 9 regionals long and you have that many opportunities, because then it's like, again, you have so many chances, it just becomes similar to the way I see league play as well.
Yeah, no, I
so many
agree with
additional
that.
chances.
Yeah. I agree with that as well. I think it is too much. And I've said this for a long time. This is not, a new thing. We've talked about that before, like in different contexts. Like, there's just way too much, like RLCS 3v3 on the calendar, and it does get repetitive. And if it's getting repetitive for like the hardcore fans,
Scarcity.
the casual fans are going to be
Tbates.
thinking even more.
Scarcity. That's what we need, right?
Scarcity is the number one thing that this whole entire RL esports thing needs. I don't know what they're gonna do. Cause like I said, they have master layoff. I don't know who even work on the game no more. I keep it a buck. I don't know who's running the ship. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what the plans are. But I would say, if they want good viewership, Scarcity would be number 1. It would be above all else. In terms of just like the amount of online games. Now, LANs is a different conversation. I think everybody's always gonna want more LANs. But in terms of online, it needs to be less. Now, but I want to come back to this though. I want to come back to what you and Johnny are talking about though, Rizzo, because in Rizzo, CJ, you know too. So I'm at both of y'all. In league play, CJ, it's actually you're irrelevant in this conversation because you were always gonna win. Your region sucked, but for Rizzo. Well, damn. Okay. Oh, it might not matter for you either then, because your team was too stacked.
You guys just don't matter.
No. I'm picking people because G2 could afford to lose.
Let's just throw a name out there. Splice. Okay, go.
Okay, yeah, for like a splice, I feel like league play really mattered. Every game mattered.
Because they weren't expected to win a game.
Yeah, but it didn't matter for you though, because your team was stacked, and y'all were just the best 3. Y'all knew that no matter what, and this is why I'm trying to get you to frame. You knew that no matter what, back then it was gonna be you, C9, and NRG up top. Now, in what order was the question?
Yeah,
but y'all knew that. So imagine a world now. Where you got this rumored G2 roster, you got this rumored Gen G roster, you got this rumored Shopify roster, huh?
They're confirmed Gen G.
Oh, my bad. I told you.
He's been away.
Just keep going. Hey, let him go.
Just wanted to let you know because you've been out of the scene, so I wanted to let you know right now.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. So you got the confirmed Gen G. I did 3 rosters. So you're gonna have this whatever that Luminosity roster is gonna be. That's 4. What you got? SSG. That's 5. What's another good? What's another good NA team? Somebody give me another NA team.
Did you say Complexity?
Complex. I did 6. That's 6. Somebody give me another great NA team. Somebody give it to me. Where's it at? I need another NA team, chat.
Another great team. Oh, we're scraping the barrel here. Hold on a second. Let me pull up Wikipedia.
Okay. Maybe we only got about like 6 really great teams. But if we have 6 really great teams, and then we're gonna have teams underneath them. Say we have like a 16-team league. You're gonna have teams from like 7 to 12 to 13 that they can take a series off of them great teams now. And if you have the playoffs limited to where only 4 or 6 teams make that playoffs, every game's gonna matter.
You say 4 teams make the playoffs?
4, yeah, about 4. Yeah, everybody's playing regular season. I was like, listen, you gotta make it to where the league, well, maybe 4 or 6. I don't know. Because you gotta make it to where it's kind of like you keep the suspense at the end of the season, but also you don't just reward everybody just because they're in the league. You gotta find that nice balance.
Yeah,
I don't know what that balance is, but the point is because once if you can get near that balance, then you're gonna have it to where every game really matters. So if you start off the season slow, say Gen G starts off the season slow, it's not crunchable. They start off 0-4. They're in trouble. They can't afford to lose no more.
Yeah. So so what if they do lose and then they're out of contention and then they have to play 7 more games still? What's that like?
Well, then that's because you gotta be professional. That's where you gotta be
Now they're
professional.
avoiding relegation.
Then there's 7
Oh,
useless
there you
games.
go. See, I like that,
That's what I'm saying.
CJ, I like that when you think about relegation. Bring it in there, CJ. Because now you
avoiding
avoid relegation.
Wait, say that
what
again.
if
Say
they're
that
just
again
like
real quick.
I would argue if you have relegation and you have X amount make finals, right? It's not like a Premier League where if you just win the league, you win. You know, I want a finals.
That's cringe,
I want a
yeah.
top. I definitely want a finals, right? So I think you're only getting dead rubber games in sort of a very specific middle bracket of the group because the bottom teams, say the bottom 4 go into relegation. So then you've got maybe the bottom 6 are kind of like still wanting to win because you want to avoid relegation.
Yep.
You probably got the top 10, 11 trying to make finals. You might have like 12 and 13 that might just be in no man's land. They've worked out that no matter what, they can't win. They can't lose by the last few games. But it's not like everyone who's not at the top is out. You know what I mean? There's no point playing. Because you're still trying to... I think this is like a specific... If you have relegation, you have finals, you're not really getting that many truly dead rubber games until maybe the last round of the season where or the last 2 rounds where that, all right, we can't get relegated and we can't make finals. And you're in that sort of like middle no man's land spot.
16 teams.
It depends how exclusive it is, right?
16 teams.
True.
8 in playoffs, 8 in relegation.
Oh, no. You're insane.
God damn it.
Make them all matter. Make them all matter.
Damn. That's crazy talk, bro. I don't get no security. I don't get no security. Bro, what you mean?
That's called entertainment. We got team scarcity now, Bates. Come on.
That's horrifying.
Let me throw a little counter on the old system, right? Or our current system that we have. The problem that also I have is that if you had league play, you have one good weekend, it doesn't mean that you're going to make the finals. It's just one win. Well done. You played really well. You've got to back it up. But like we saw throughout the season, you could have one really good weekend in NA, make a top 2 or top 4, and you make the major, even though you bomb out the next 2. So like, I don't like that either. That like you could just fluke a weekend and then make the major off that because
nobody fluked. Surely, well, Dignitas were the one that they snuck in. They didn't. They what did they get though? They got like 8.
Look, they had some consistent results. I'll give them that. They got consistent results. But
I don't think in the current format.
I just think league play you can never have like I think you're always going to have the best teams in the finals just because you're not relying on one weekend, 2 weekends. It's like 10 weekends or how many?
Like 10 weekends.
Will we play 2 games a week in league play? We have 10
or
maybe a 9-week league or something.
And just build storylines. I don't know.
I'm starting to flip over to that side. I don't mind the idea of league play.
Listen, it's not like I don't think it's bad for competitive integrity. Yeah, it's absolutely fair. Except you are going to run into some issues when one team just have absolutely nothing to play for. They're already confirmed relegation, and now they have to play against a team who are fighting for one of those playoff spots. And they might all show up on the pitch in marks, or they probably just have 0 hours past 2.
Still, Johnny, in relegation? What if they're still trying to get a better seed in relegation so they can play a worse team coming up?
Okay, so yeah, you can do things to limit the effect of that, but there's no way you can tell me that there wouldn't be a game where some team or a series where some team shows up like this, or no, it doesn't even have to be in marks.
But that could happen now, though, Jay.
Not really, though, because there's usually something to fight for, like a lot more clear, like a much clearer goal to fight for. Whereas if you're just absolutely dead last, like it can happen, you're completely dead last. I've actually run into this problem a couple of times now with Salt Mine 3 as I'm currently running it, that there'll be a guy on 0-4 going into the 5th round of games, and everyone else in the group already has 2 wins. It's impossible for them to be anywhere other than last. And there is nowhere else for them to go than into relegations with the worst seed. If you're dead last already, it could happen. Team could just start off 0 and 13, and then every other team already has 4 wins. That is very possible. So now they have really nothing to play for. They're literally just showing up. They're not going to grind for that. Well, I'm just saying, like, there is less to play for because you can't gain any more prize money. You can't gain a better seed. There's actually nothing tangible to play for. How are you supposed to put all of your effort into scrims and practice?
They're playing for their careers.
I mean, yeah, but you're already last though. Do you see my point? Like, this is one of the drawbacks is like you are going to get pointless games where a team doesn't try their best, and now they've given another team an easier series, and maybe that team knocks another team out because the other team played this team who are now eliminated earlier in the season. They took a couple of games off them, and you've lost by 1 game diff. Like, it could happen, but yeah. There are ways to mitigate it. Like CJ is right, you can play with seeding in promo relegations. You could incorporate like some kind of prize money for series wins. Like there are ways to push it back, but none of them are going to be as incentivizing as you win, you go further in the tournament. That's like a bigger thing.
Let me ask you a question. I think that what you just ended on, nothing can be as incentivizing as you win, you go further. I think that is a subjective can be subjective, because I think right now you honestly have games that are meaningless, especially in the third regional. Sometimes you have teams who honestly know they ain't gonna win. They know it. They might make the regional. They may be happy about that. They know they ain't gonna win it though. So okay, we gonna go in. We gonna try against G2. We the 16th seed. And we go down 2-0, we have no reason to play no more at that point.
That's like saying that teams at the very start of the league, like day one, they're like, well, we're not going to win, so like let's just mail it in. We qualified, let's just play 20 hours past due and not even try.
In the league, though,
but you can't apply that to one and not the other. Like I can easily flip that and say, well, the same is true for league play, and it's exaggerated because now there will be instances where there's nothing to play for. In Swiss, into single elimination, you're always moving one step closer. Every time you win, you progress. Every time. And in groups, there can, I think, in the RLCS group stage format that just happened, I think it is technically possible for a team to be eliminated. Oh no, it wasn't, because they had the head-to-head rule. So yeah, no matter what, you always have something to play for when you're entering the last series of a group, and then you're into single elimination as well. Double elimination, you always have something to play for. Well, you don't, though, because you could just be dead last, guaranteed, regardless of the result of the series. That would be nothing to play for.
Okay, that would have to be on the back end of the season, but even back in the season. So I guess you could say yeah.
But it does impact like things, because just to use an example from Saltmine 3, this happened. Razebull was eliminated. He was dead last, guaranteed. Before his final round, he messaged the admin and said he'll forfeit his last match. And we told him we'd rather
because of that, dude, Jay.
But like the same, it's just it's just an example. In RLCS, the same thing would manifest itself in other ways. You're not trying it with your practice. You're not scrimming as much. They're not putting in any hours because they're like already dead last. But like he just messaged and he said he'd rather not play. All right, he wants to forfeit because he's out anyway. And we told him we'd prefer if he played because it could impact someone else's qualification. Really respect to Razebull, he played, and he actually won. He actually won his last match, even though he had nothing to play for. So massive respect to Razebull. When he heard that someone else's qualification could depend on that, he stepped up. Not everybody's going to do that, though. Like, especially when you got to wait a whole week before playing. You can't tell me somebody's going to wake up the next day and be like, right, time to put the hours into free play because next week we play for 16th or 16th place. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, but I think you could be right about where the will in terms of seeding purposes. I can't move seeding. I'm stuck, guaranteed 16.
Yeah,
that motivation might be messed up. But in terms of like your career, though, you're gonna want to keep on trying, because ideally in a situation like this, I also think that was something I didn't add in. I think with league play, you would have more sustainability, because they be in league play, there'd be less turnovers or stay more. Ideally, hypothetically, you would all 16 teams or how many teams would be in league play would be represented by organization. Those players are playing for their careers every single time they're on the field. And I understand that they might be 0-15, but you still want to go show that you still want to go try to win that last game, be 1-15. That's a better thing on the resume. And then honestly, and then that gives and then if you do that, that might give you the confidence to not get relegated. I mean, to not lose in a promo relegation tournament. You went 0-16, you might just be chalk water. You gave up, and if you were a real competitor, you're not gonna want to do that. And I feel like,
Bates, listen though, if you're the org, you would tell them that take a break. You're 16th, like it's cancel scrims, take a break. Let's have a little
I'm not
break
paying
from
you
this,
money
like,
to take no break. I'm paying you money for some
breaks. Breaks are important. Everybody needs breaks. You need to be able to disconnect and like take some time off to get ready for the next like split, the next league, whatever it would be. Like if I'm the org owner, you're dead last already. You'd be like, nah, cancel scrims.
No. I ain't paying you to take no break. You off the organization at that point. I'm not paying you to take no break. league, not a chance. Esports organizations
did
don't make no
breaks,
money.
but
I'm not
this
I'm
is
not
like-
paying you to sit on your ass.
no,
It
this
ain't gonna
is
be
like-
happening. You better be
we-
putting in some
no.
work. You better be wanting to play the game, and you better be passionate about it. If
I
you're
forgot,
not
you
interested
don't-
in playing, then you can go. If you want to take a break, go take a break. Go take a break.
Exactly.
I'm not paying you to take no
this
break
is-
though.
this
So,
is
Johnny,
just
Johnny,
culture.
Johnny,
No, it's
a
a
team
culture
took
clash.
a break. A team took a
It's a
break in
culture
OCE,
clash.
Johnny, and they got banned for 12 months. So you can't be doing that. You cannot be
This is
throwing in RLCS. They'll find you out. It's competitive integrity. You got to follow the rule book every week.
do. No, you
Play
do.
at 100%.
You do. I totally agree. But like, I mean, I just realized this is like beyond our Rocket League. Now this is just a culture clash because you don't get paid leave in America, do you? So it's just like not a thing.
We
But
do
nah,
get paid
breaks are
leave.
important. I stand for breaks. I think the players should have breaks.
Nah,
I
y'all
would
need to be
give
having
my
9
players
month
a
breaks.
break
Boy.
if they're 0-15. Go 0-16 for the meme. Honestly, like at that point, who cares?
Oh
Like, you
no,
better do
no,
something
that's not a
memorable.
meme. That's an embarrassing. I don't want to be a meme. I don't want to
No,
be
just-
remembered as the team that went 0-16. You Rizzo, would you have wanted to be remembered as the team that went 0-16?
Set to
not?
destroy,
Why not?
baby.
No, that'd be pretty sad. That'd
Yeah,
actually be
but
pretty
Unless
sad.
you could bounce back and go
No,
16
there's no
in a row the
bouncing
next
back after
season.
that. I don't care if you win the
16
next
in a row,
3
and
championships.
what a
That
story
team is
that
not.
would be.
That team is not sticking together if they went 0-16.
16 is hilarious. Look,
Okay.
I just think like in my head, right? I'm all for I like the new format. But I also kind of liked here's your schedule for today, here's the schedule for next week, rather than
Yep,
being
I
like
like
that
that. I love
tournament
that.
was fun. Let's do the exact same thing next week and see what the hell happens. Let's go back to the well and run the same format, same tournament again, and just see what sticks to the wall. Like I think it's exciting having these tournaments, but having 9 of them and they're all very, very similar. And some of them don't mean as much as others. Everyone's kind of waiting for Regional 3 to really
Regional
see
3.
what happens.
Yep.
And I kind of like the idea of, those games were sick today. Next week we got, and it's like, oh, next week we got this, you know what I mean? Rather than like next week, they probably will play each other again in the final, but we're not too sure based on the Swiss bracket. See you next week,
And I
kinda
want to
like
interject
that.
here, CJ. I want to interject here
Okay.
because I was a fan. I was just a fan of Rocket League. I was a fan of Rocket League, and it was the league play that got me into the game and into the esport because it was simple, and I was like, okay, I know. I got it. Transparency. I became a fan in season 3. And so I would know that G2 was gonna go up against the who was on Dapper's team, what's the name? Selfless or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew they were playing this week 4. I knew that was happening. Like, okay, I gotta be what time is that? That's Sunday. That's Sunday at 3. I'm gonna mark that down. I'm watching the game then. Like I knew and like that interested me. And I did my whole friend group. I can speak for all of them. That's what got us all in because we all had our teams and we knew when they were gonna play. We knew we knew exactly what week was happening when whatever. So like we could schedule it around it. And I also think that as Rocket League, because the core fan base is getting older, people are getting more responsibilities. And if you want something to grow, you gotta start catering at some point to an adult audience. They can't all be kids who can just sit and watch it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If I got a team I really like, I would like to know when they're playing. I would like to know I can hop onto the stream and they're on. And there's a reason you would see that increase when NRG was playing, when G2 was playing, because people knew they were playing. The viewer base is gonna shoot up when they know Carmine's about to play. They're all gonna show up. It's gonna be so drastic, and I think that shows something. You got a fan base. You're building that character. You're building more storylines. You're putting more players on, and you're making it much more accessible for a fan perspective. And I think
And I will
also
say,
go ahead.
and as someone on the other side of the world, right? If I'm not on, like, if I'm not commentating something and say an NA regional's on, like, I'm probably not going to wake up because I don't know like what's happening. But I remember back in league play, it'd be like, oh, NRG Cloud9's playing at 4 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm like, I'm waking up for that. Like I'll set the alarm and like I want to watch it. Whereas now, like I'm not going to just randomly hope I wake up at like 4:30 in the morning and then I see, oh, okay, it's these. Okay, never mind. I'm going back to sleep. Like I'm not gonna specifically get up to watch an entire tournament regional thing because there's so many matches and it dilutes it. I'm league play. I'm starting to think back to the good old days.
I've got a question though. Like I actually think that the point, I mean, it is true. Some people will tune in when their team is playing, but I think that would almost be. I'm almost certain that would reduce viewership overall, even if it like goes higher for that series. I think overall viewership would go down. I think average viewership would probably go down because you're not going to have those fans, the KC fans, sticking around to see if KC are in the next round. They're gone. Like as soon as KC play, now they're off because they know they show up to KC game, don't care about the rest. And like Vitality fans, maybe they just watch Vitality game. So it comes with like both sides of the coin. You're gonna get big, viewers for the KC game. Next game after that, who is it? It's like 2 teams in the middle of the table. Everybody's gonna turn it off, because there's no.
But that's why they stack the day to have the best games last, like they would in any other thing. You pick the prime time games in the prime time slots.
Yep.
But there's not enough of them though. Like there's so many like deader games compared to prime time.
There's
games.
at least one every week. If you had 18 teams in a league, there's gonna be at least
a hype
2
match every week
that are gonna be really good. It's not.
But what about right now, where every match is really good? Like you're still losing out compared to the current format, where every match contains a top team.
And to me, and see, this is where I think I differ from you, Johnny. And you let me know. To me, I get bored of seeing Carmine versus Vitality the 4th time, or like the 3rd time. I'm bored of that.
Not really, but I do.
I know that's the best Rocket League possible to watch.
No, but you don't have to convince me. I agree that they play too much. Like, you don't have to convince me. I agree they play too much, but I wouldn't say I get bored. That's probably like too.
I'm not bored, but I'm not as interested as I normally would be. I'm going to say that.
Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree they play too much, but KC fans are showing up every single time KC play. It doesn't matter. They could play every week. KC fans are going to watch. So, like, I don't know if it's like always a good thing to just know when all the matches are happening. The mystery, not knowing who's going to be in the final, can actually be a good thing. Not knowing who's going to make the next round is a good thing in and of itself, because humans love, not knowing what's going to come up next. The surprise, the surprise factor.
Humans do like that surprise factor. What I would say to your viewership angle, though, is that one is already decreasing, and then so I don't know what necessarily the decrease would be from the move, and then I do believe that there will be an increase in terms of casual viewer base. And 3, that's point number 2. And then 3, I really don't think it would decrease that much. I think your hardcore fans, and if people still watch for drops, I don't know how many people will go watch for drops without this trading thing. That'll be an interesting case study to watch over the next few months. But people are still go watch. Your hardcore fans still go watch, and the people who watch for drops still go watch, and you just got people having on the background. I think what you're going to see is you're going to see an influx. I think you're going to see a return of the casual fan. I think at least in North America.
Wait, but you're saying viewership's going down, but it's not though. It's gone up.
That's the viewer parties. I hate these inflated numbers. We got to keep it realistic, man. Kometo's dropping 120K, bro. We can't rely on Kometo's 120. I understand people love looking at the number. That man's bringing 120,000 people with him. If he's not there, those numbers are not the same. And I think that it needs to be an honest conversation with everybody in the community. We can't be lying to ourselves. It's great that we can reach 470, 500, but we got to be real with ourselves. We're not reaching. Back in the olden days, we hit 210 on season 3 on just the Rocket League channel. We barely hit 200 on the Rocket League channel now. We gotta keep it realistic. We gotta keep
this realistic. That's not the case, though. It's not just drops. Bates, it's not just Kameto. I mean, you can look at the numbers for compare like regionals from last season, just like pull the exact same one and look at the numbers, even the ones that don't have Carmine Corp, and the viewership's not going down.
Oh, look at the NA numbers, Johnny. The NA numbers are dying. They're going down. They're going down fast.
Europe's going up. It's gone up.
Okay, maybe Europe.
Regionally,
has Europe gone up for real?
Yeah, it's actually
gone
up.
Stream.
Well, so the average viewers, yes. The average viewers, because you're going to get
because the viewers are because the French are watching. Because the Rocket
it's gone up.
Got you.
It's gone up.
Okay.
But
that's
like
going up a little bit.
Maybe NA's gone down. I don't know if it has.
NA's definitely going down.
You've got to count like the. I actually do count the viewer parties though, because it depends. I mean, it depends what you really want out of it. Are you just trying to grow the channel, or you can't like not count the French viewers who tuned into the official French broadcast. Rocket Baguette's pulling like 70,000 viewers.
No, I'll count Rocket Baguette. That's official. I'm talking like the viewing parties.
Okay.
I like the Kometo bringing in 120 when Critical brought in 100. Those are fans of him, and that's great. I love that. I want to see the numbers of the officials. I'll give you Rocket Baguette. I think there's a German stream too. I'll give you the German.
But like, why do you think? Do you not think that the mainstream's going down because there's more like POVs to watch, and people are now who would have previously watched the mainstream are now watching, like, let's say the Rizzo watch party, or they're watching like the Rasmuthor watch party in French. They're watching their own language. Like they're definitely spreading out. I myself find myself doing that when I'm watching day one on my own stream. I find myself watching Kameto's stream rather than the main broadcast. I don't even speak French. I'm like, I want to see this because he's still so animated, so dramatic.
And you're invested.
But there have to be more people doing this who like click off the mainstream to see who else is watching, because although React content is controversial, it does actually generate entertainment.
Here's what I'll say to that. I can say, sure, there could be more people who usually watch the Rocket League stream, watching all the various other streams. That could be the case. But what is the case is that there's more people who just watch the Rocket League stream, not watching anything, because they got oversaturated. The esport changed so dramatically. There's so many games. They don't see NRG play no more. They don't see G2 play no more. They don't see all these great teams that they are really fans of. They don't play no more. And if they do, they're not on the stream on Saturday or Sunday. They're not watching anything. And since they're not watching anything, the NA numbers are suffering.
Think about all the people who tuned in last season on a Sunday, and they said, when does NRG play? But they actually meant it. There. They actually meant it, and NRG wasn't there.
God knows.
Because they just didn't make it.
They didn't make it. And if there's a league play, NRG would be on a league play, and you know, and that's what you do. You know you would have NRG playing on that league play Sunday. Like, even I don't care if they own 16, they coming anyway. NRG are the Cowboys. The fan base is gonna be there no matter what, and you're gonna make sure they're in their primetime television spot. That's what I'm telling you.
I've got a question. So you mentioned like all of you big view parties in EU, Kamito, Moist, and all the French streams, all the different language streams. But like I've just looked up North America. For some reason there's no viewership statistics for Regional 3. I'm not dodging that one. I tried to look up the most recent regional for NA. No viewership stats in Wikipedia. But the one before that, there are viewership stats, and the peak viewership was higher for North America in Regional 2 of the spring split compared to the Regional 2 of the spring split. The year before, no, they didn't. It was like the V1 phase grand final one. That was compared to the previous season was G2 V1. So I mean, it's not like they had a bad regional. But my point is, I don't think the viewership's actually gone down. I don't know why people keep saying this with no stats.
Doesn't Wikipedia include all of the watch parties?
Well, it does. But who's watch partying NA that's got like 160k views? No, I don't think I was watching that one. I don't think I have 160k views, but no, maybe I was watching that one.
You're adding 7.
But I think would I not have watched party the year before as well?
No,
the average viewership for Regional 1 also it's almost exactly the same actually, 58,000. That's crazy.
Regardless of
average viewership's gone down 160 viewers over a whole year. 160.
Regardless of viewership, up or down, regardless of viewership, I think, look, as a player, I enjoyed the new format. As one of the best players in the world formerly, I really enjoyed playing these tournaments because it was fun. Like you hop in, you're like, right, we're in for a weekend here. Let's go. You're playing Swiss, you're playing you might play 12 series, whatever you want, 13 series. But I think I'm just thinking like as a fan, even as like an analyst, right? If you had a whole week to build up a series rather than like a tournament, rather than like the next EU regional, you're like, oh, well, you don't really know who's going to play. But if we had a whole week in terms of the shows, like remember we had RLCS overtime or whatever it was, you're building up, the Vitality K-Corp. Like, what are they going to do? Like, how are you going to counter strat? What are we going to implement in terms of that side of I think that can really grow the esport as well, because right now we can't really analyze. We talk about it when we have majors and worlds as well. We have 2 minutes going into a game. It's basically, I think that team's going to win. No, I think that team's going to win. Let's jump into it, because that's kind of like all you have time for. We're trying to get through so many games. It's the same in a regional as well. It's kind of just like all the games are like, even the grand final, it's jumping in. Oh, these guys have had a great tournament. I think they're going to win. Actually, no, I'm going to go those guys. Like, there's not really anything going on. But if we had a whole week to be like, even the shit teams could, try and implement a strat. They could do replay analysis. They know who they're playing. They can try and figure them out. They have a whole week to do it. I enjoyed doing that as a player. I enjoyed the new format because you just play so many games and it's just fun to just play Rocket League all weekend. That's like competing's fun. But I enjoyed also as a player knowing who you're playing that week. Usually you're not screaming that team all week. As well, that's kind of like what used to happen. Like if whoever you're playing, you're not screaming that whole week. So you're trying to develop, you're trying to improve your game, you're trying to play teams that might be a similar play style to that team. But nowadays, everyone just screams everyone because it's a tournament. Like you're probably going to play everyone anyway that weekend. So I kind of enjoyed that, having that whole week build up, and I think fans would enjoy that build up. We could talk about the series, on our podcasts or whatever. We can have RLCS shows. First Touch can talk about,
First Touch would be such a better
what
product.
they're going to
First
think
Touch
about. And then
elevates
the
so
analysis throughout the weekend on the actual show itself can be, you can have Achieves diving in on the telestrator because he's had a whole week to prepare for this series. And then, you can have that, oh my God, he's so smart. This is actually what happened. They did implement that strat. They were going for more demos on that guy, whatever. That'd be a cool, that's a cool side of it that I think I miss, just as a fan and I guess an analyst / caster. Just knowing, there's a lot of cool series now in the new format, but it's kind of you lose the build up. You lose that.
You lose build up.
That getting up there. You just kind of straight in. You're constantly climaxing, and at some point, it's losing the. We need a bit of foreplay.
Yeah, the roller coaster has to go up the hill before it goes down, and right now it's just sat at the top of the hill. And I'm with you. And I also think, just to add on, they're missing on so much advertisement potential. If they know Carmine something's on week 8, they could build content specifically for that, and it could be some cold hype content. They can't do that now. They don't know that Carmine's gonna be in the final. They can't build something around Zen except for the majors. And I think that just in terms of because I think there's been this conception, I don't know whether it's been right or wrong, that the regionals just don't matter. We just need to get to the majors. The majors are what matters. And that could be right, that could be wrong. To me, I think the whole league matters. The online matters just as much as the majors or as the LANs. Because the online is what generates the LAN hype. And if the online's not there, then people aren't going to be as hyped for the LAN, in my estimation. And now you had some exceptional things with Zen coming in. I think everybody's hyped for that, no matter what. Zen's a prize, yeah. But in general, I just feel like the online really needs to matter, and I don't think you get that with the regionals. I think you get it with the league play. I think you get the advertisement, you get everything CJ was talking about, and then you just keep running with it.
But okay,
I'm nearly back on that side, Johnny. I think we're turning you as well.
No, I know you got a long way to go, but I've got other problems with it that I wanted to briefly touch on. So league play. We actually agree on a lot of things. We think that there's too many regionals, too many matches between the top teams, and league play would reduce the amount of matches. But what it would do to viewership, unclear. I think the one thing that probably hurt viewership, I've actually gone and looked at every regional in NA. I noticed that all the ones where NRG did well, the viewership was better than when NRG didn't do well. So when NRG were the team in NA and they get eliminated, people turn it off. But I think the same thing would happen if NRG are like playing at 9, and then before then it's just like other teams. People would not tune in.
I think getting the build up though across the day, people are starting to I'll watch the game before the NRG series. I think they would. I think you're not going to get many at the very start. So put on Splice at the start. Put on G2 when they're 8th. Well, maybe not G2 because they're still going to get viewers, but put on those teams that are lower ranked, and then you need to earn prime time spot. It's the same as regular sport. The teams that don't get
I'm not arguing. I think your broadcast schedule makes it absolutely 100%. I agree with that. If it's a league, you've got to put the best games last. But I think we've also got to remember that I think a lot of the frustrations with this season in particular stem from the fact that it is complete copy paste. They did the exact same thing as the previous season. So when there was lots of change in RLCS Season X, everybody was like, "Fantastic, absolutely love that. Let's run it." A lot of change happened in 2021-22. Amazing. There was less change, but there were changes, additions. Great. This is exciting. Everybody's excited. LANs are back. Phenomenal. Then this season they just did the exact same thing. The only thing that changed was a couple of format tweaks to try and make it a little bit more competitive, and the LAN locations. So I think if they'd tried to make new formats and did things differently, I don't think a lot of the complaints would be happening, and the viewer fatigue would be lower, because now we're at 2 years of the same product. 2 years. That's a long time to have the same content in this generation.
Here's what. Here. I got 2 responses to that. I think you make valid. Those are valid points. I got 2 responses. One, I'm thinking in terms of just the corporate side things. The person cutting the checks, person who really doesn't get this, they're trying to look for more consistency. And if you keep showing that you keep changing, you have to keep changing something in order to keep something relevant. If you don't have the right people back in that, up that chain, I'm not seeing how somebody who's cutting the checks are gonna want that. They're gonna be like, "Why are you changing this again? We just changed it a year ago. We just changed it. We changed it again. Why we gotta make another adjustment? Why are you making another adjustment?" It's just like that's just how these corporate heads think. And number two, me personally, I never got tired of league play. I never did.
I did.
No, but I never got tired of league play itself. Now, the way league play was being ran, I did get tired of because there wasn't enough games, there wasn't enough teams up there, and there wasn't enough turnover. There's too many people who need to get kicked out of the league, and they weren't getting kicked out of the league fast enough. So that's why I was tired of. But the league
it wasn't
play
a good
itself,
format.
league play itself was fine. The idea, the concept of league play, and I truthfully believe this. I really do believe they didn't do all that open stuff, and they kept it as league play, and they just refined league play and made it clean. It would have popped off just as much as open did. Now I don't know. I'm talking about viewers and stuff. I don't now in terms of players, all these new players that we've seen. I don't think you get that. That's something that I'll concede that. I do think that the open allows people to pop in and hop in more quickly at an expedited rate. I do think that we had an anomaly though with RLCS 21-22, because we had so many people that were just being stuck in the league anyways. They were in the league for a year or two too long anyway, so they got booted immediately because there's players that are ready to play in their place. But that's the one point I will concede to the open, is that the fact that it has the ability to have that turnover. I think that's more turnover and more new players for the open compared to league play. But in terms of league play itself, I really think that league play would have popped off just as well. They just need to refine it.
Well, if they changed it a lot, then it would have, popped off.
They need to have more games. They need to have more games.
But that's not really enough of change. You need more change. League play is quite restricted. Like the way esports like thrives at the moment is when there's new things, changes. It's like constantly evolving. That's the advantage that it has over real sports, which are obviously a lot more hoops to jump through if you want to change something. And a lot more moving parts. Whereas we've got the advantage, we could literally just like say, "Nah, we're not going to do the spring split next season. It's just going to be a league for the split." That you could actually just do that. You can't do that. You can't just completely switch up the way that a league or like a tournament works in a real sport. It's far too ingrained. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have change. But obviously there needs to be a balance with some form of consistency so people can understand what's going on. That it's not like you miss a split and you're like, okay, what on earth is this? Like I've stopped watching for 3 months, I come back and it's completely different. Yeah, there is a balance there. But yeah, the reason league play got kind of boring for me back in the day is because it was just the same thing every 6 months. Oh, it's this again. Oh no, it's this again. They make it maybe a few more teams, different like best of format. Still though, it was just very repetitive. And I was so happy when they changed it to a circuit because it was, I don't know, it's different. And
I just think that 8 teams was the massive part of that being repetitive.
Well, they did 10 in the last season.
Yeah,
and
that
was
was
different.
people out.
10 I was like, don't care.
Yeah.
Well, 10 was the first. 10 had an auto relegation, I think. 9. 9 would have been the first league with an auto relegation in last place, but they never actually kept the league going into the next season, so that didn't take effect. But still, though, I remember watching that league. I was like, I don't really care. I mean, yeah, I'm watching because I'm a fan of Rocket League esports, but I'm just waiting for the playoffs. That's the only part I really cared about, because it doesn't matter if you finish 6th, 1st in the league. You just show up in the playoff and you can make a run. Like it's not enough of a difference. Whereas if comparing the current system, what's the difference between winning a split and finishing 5th? Well, it's not just you're both going to LAN, but now you've also got a reward point system that's cumulative to really make a difference between teams who are consistently good and teams who are consistently finishing 5th or 6th and just scraping in.
I got one more thing.
What do you want, Rizzo?
What do I want? I got one more thing to help potentially wrap this up. You guys were talking about, Johnny was talking about viewer fatigue. Bates was talking about like oversaturation. Do you think the amount of time a broadcast runs affects that? Because to me, I don't want to watch a 9 hour broadcast. Like that is like way too much. Yeah, and so they've recently like shortened it, but when they kind of go too long, it's kind of overbearing. Like I feel like that, like 3 to 4 hours, like that sweet spot. Yep, Bates, what's up?
What I'll say to that is, thank you. I had my hand raised. I wanted to go first before Johnny went. He needed to raise his hand.
I wasn't going to jump in.
I'll say that is that I really don't think it's the broadcast length. Well, yeah, the broadcast could be 8 hours. I'm trying to think. I start watching football at 1. Football goes to 11. That's 10 hours. That's 10. That's 10 hours. I think it's just the fact, but I'm not like actively watching the broadcast. I think with the tournament, you want to keep on watching. You want to keep watching each series. But with the league play, I'm here for matches 2 and match number 5. So I'm not watching it. The broadcast might be on the whole time, but I'm tuning in for series 2 and I'm tuning in for series 5. So I'm only watching for 2 hours. But with the tournament, you want to watch the whole entire thing. You want to see what's going on, and then you have to sit there the whole entire time. It's much easier to just dip your toes in and then jump out when you know what games are happening. The broadcast could be 8 hours, and it could have its ups and downs. It could have more time fleshed out for the desk. It could have more just general time just for content and stuff like that. If you know you're gonna have 6 games over the course of X amount of time. So I don't really think it's the length of the broadcast. I think it's the fact that with the
knowing what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we talked about viewership as well, Johnny, with the schedule. If it was league play, scheduling the best teams last, but it's the same thing with the current format. Like the viewership isn't constant throughout the whole tournament. Like you're still getting the peak viewers when it is the top teams when it's French. You know what I mean? So I think it's the same. That's the same thing with league play. I don't think it hinders. Don't think it hinders the viewership having like worse teams and then building up to the best teams. Because I think it's the same in like a Friday day one. You're not getting the same viewership as the Sunday. I think that's the same as having a weekend league where the first few series are kind of lower ranked teams or teams that don't have as big of a following building up. Like you know what I mean? Like I think you're still getting that build up of viewership or the some series with more. It's the same with the open format with the best teams. You're getting more viewership then. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of with it, like in terms of like the longer broadcast. Like, who's really watching like an 8-hour broadcast in every single series?
That's kind of what I'm getting
or
at.
for the whole
like,
weekend.
8 hours is like for the absolute extreme fan.
It's too long. I did it was V Party in San Diego, and I watched what was it, Saturday? No, Friday was 8 hours. I was like, this is long, and I'm like, just barely starting my day when I started watching this. It is long. I feel like 6 hours is enough. I'm like, that's a good part to end. Maybe even 5 is fine. 4 is fine.
Yeah, I feel like three or 4 is that sweet spot. Like I can sit there and watch that whole thing, but 6 I can come back to, and 8 like I'm literally gonna forget about it. Like I'm gonna be watching it, get distracted, do something else. Like
I'm still worried. So what I don't like is repetitiveness. So, and I'm still kind of worried that if you had league play, then every single broadcast would be exactly the same in more ways than they are currently. Where right now you have like basically a bunch of playoffs. Like if we're talking about how the playoffs are the fun part, we can't wait for the playoffs. Well, actually, right now the format is just a bunch of playoffs. It's just a bunch of different formatted playoffs.
Isn't that like
that all lead to Atlanta?
It doesn't feel like
nothing makes sense. Nothing
I
matters
agree.
if it always matters.
I agree. It doesn't feel like it because there are too many of them. But I think the solution isn't to get rid of them all entirely. It's to have less of them. It's to have less of them and to make formats that don't allow the best teams to rematch like play 3 times in a weekend, or it gets very tiring when you have a team in a double elimination format. They play once earlier in the week, and like a winter final, then they play twice in the grand final. It's like half of the day. It's just the same series 3 different times. Like you can have formats where that doesn't happen, where you intentionally format it to avoid rematches. Like the AFL playoff format, definitely a good example. It's a great format. CJ, you guys really knocked it at the park with that one. But I don't know if it's like something I feel like this is a knee-jerk reaction to say, okay, we don't like what's happening right now. How do we fix it? Okay, this definitely prevents teams from rematching a bunch of times. So let's do that. But it's got drawbacks as well that I'm not very repetitive. I'm not looking forward to putting myself in the casting booth there. I'm like, ooh, it's another day where I'm like, here's a league game and another league game. Add another league game, add another one, and we'll see you tomorrow for another league game. I feel like it's going to be a hard sell there for esports viewers.
Rizzo, what do you think? What side of the fence you on?
I guess I was kind of always against league play for the most part, but I think right now I feel like I'm probably so desperate for something else for like not the current format that I'm open to like league play. I like the idea of games being advertised beforehand and like them like lower cards, you know what I mean, like the less interesting matchups into the main card matchup of the night. logistically, like from a broadcast standpoint, I have no idea how it would work. Like how you would. Yeah, but that's not what I'm thinking about right now. I'm not caring about all that. I think from like an open format, or sorry, not an open format, a league play format perspective, I think it's a good idea. Like I think if they did like maybe like, okay, I didn't want to bring up this format idea, but since we're here, I might as well. What if they did like a league play into playoffs, but still have a point system? But like they did it like twice throughout a season. What if there's 2 league plays throughout a season? Or is that too much?
Yeah. 2 league plays for 2 splits.
2 league plays, 2 playoffs, and then probably like 2 majors and worlds or something like that.
Yeah.
What about 1 league play for 1 split, and then like something more resembling a current split for the other split, and we see who wins. We see who wins the fight with viewer numbers. We see what's more entertaining. Let's put them against each other in the same season.
Put them against each other and see what happens.
I don't think the format is going to have such a big impact on viewership. That's where I'm like kind of disconnected with both you guys here.
I don't think initially it is. I think league play. I think you have to bring people back. I just feel like
I think the only thing that's bringing viewership is Kometo and Zen. And I think that's about it right now. Like
no. That's for the French side of things though. But for the American side of things, you can bring the Americans back to watch Rocket League. You gotta promote it.
And
you gotta promote it though. You
like,
gotta bring the Americans
you
back
can't
to Rocket League.
You can't force interest though. You can't
like,
make
somebody. You can't just if there was a league.
Interest.
No, Tbates, if there was a league this entire time and NRG were really good, top of the league for like 2021-22 season at the start, then they kind of fell off towards the end, and then they had a really bad 22-23 season, you would have seen the same drop off in NRG fan viewership as we had this time around. NRG fans are not going to watch as much when NRG are losing. Doesn't matter what the format is. So I don't know if I would say that the viewership's dropped off because of the fact it's an open format. I just think it's been too much of the same thing for too long, far too regular. We need to calm it down a little bit, and we need NRG to start winning again. For goodness sake, could they really they're so selfish? How long are they allowed to go this losing streak? This is not fair. If they start winning again, NA viewers skyrockets, and we see a new peak all time. Imagine if they came back. Oh my goodness! Actually cancel all these roster moves, get back together, win. Everybody's happy.
Well, send us home, CJ. What are you thinking?
I think at the end of the day, we are just 4 people. And look, we've had a lot of people in Twitch chat with their own opinions. I think we need to throw it to you guys. So if you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, whatever, get in our Discord or in the YouTube comment and let us know what you think. Because the people at the end of the day, you guys, we're talking about the viewership. That is everyone watching at home. We need to know what you guys want, because I mean, we're pretty split, so we need some help from someone else, because we could go either way. But what do you guys want?
We got 3 options for people to decide between: either keep it as it currently is, open every split, or introduce a league for 1 split. So 1 split is league play, just so test it out, or just go completely back to full league. Those are like the 3 options we've got at the moment. We want to know what would you guys be most interested in watching and most interested in following as a fan.
Or if you have your own ideas, let us know in comments. But we'll drop the Chalk Discord there and the YouTube comments. Let us know. We'll be reading those, and then we can come back to this. Maybe bring Tbates in, and when we get a bit of a wider consensus of what the people want, and maybe we can bring some new ideas to the table. But at the end of the day, I think all of us we can agree that we want change after having the same format from 2 years in a row. We just don't really know what that change should be. So let's see if we can get there. Help us out.
Yeah, and that's gonna wrap up Chalk number 63. We'll be back next week when they announce that RLCS is over. Thank you everybody for listening. We appreciate you guys. If you guys missed any part of this, be sure to join. Be sure to check it out on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Like CJ said, be sure to join our Discord, and a special shout out to all of our Patreon members. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. If you guys don't know, we do bonus episodes weekly on that Patreon. So be sure to check it out. Patreon.com/Shotcast. We will see you all next week. Goodbye. Bye-bye.